Bickley and Marana Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Torey Lovullo is one of my forever guys, as in I want him to manage the Diamondbacks forever. I felt the same way about Mike D'Antoni with the Suns. I felt the same way about Bruce Arians with the Cardinals. Alas, forever guys do not exist in sports, not as head coaches, and while Lovullo is far removed from any kind of hot seat in Arizona, last night's game in Los Angeles was a reminder of how fragile these relationships can be. In short, Lovullo made a very bad decision in letting Paul Sewald pitch to Freddie Freeman with first base open in the ninth inning. And just like Corey Seager in the World Series, the result was a crushing emotional blow. Now, this is not to absolve closer Sewald or an offense that refused to blow open the game when they had numerous chances, which is to say, it isn't just on the manager. But the biggest moments in baseball require your manager to push the right buttons. And last night was a big fail, especially when they had the Dodgers down to their last strike in their own building, and in the blink of an eye, it was double, double, single, turn out the lights, everyone drive home safely. And now the D-backs have to deal with yet another sucker punch defeat with another haymaker to the head. And you wonder if there will ever come a time when our baseball team cannot recover, when they cannot get off the canvas.
Yeah, when you start to dissect the game and dig into it a little bit, it was a Lux walk. It was the bases loaded and no outs that yielded no runs. That hurt us a little bit. But once again, we were in position to win this game, and we should have.
There you go. Turn on your mic, Vin. Torey Lovullo, manager of the Diamondbacks, talking about key moments that led to the loss. And yes, there was a lot of things. There's a lot of things that always unfold during 9 innings of a baseball game.
That lead to those moments.
To those moments, those high-pressure moments where you got to make a decision, and no manager is going to make the right decision. No closer is going to make the right pitch, and Paul Sewald has been perfect up to this point. That's his first blown save of the year. I wonder how he bounces back now, because we talked with Paul Sewald in spring training, and he was pretty open and honest about giving up that home run in Game 1 to Corey Seager. Well, that could completely change the complexion of that series.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that game against the Rangers in the World Series prompted Paul Sewald to develop another pitch.
Yes.
And he used that pitch in that at-bat against Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
And it worked out well.
It did.
But Steve Berthiaume was shocked. That's the pitch that he was working on, and he got the lat strain in spring training, and he pulled it out. That's just the tip of the cap to Shohei Ohtani. You got to do everything you can to get that guy out.
Exactly.
But, yeah, it was interesting that he went to that pitch. I wonder how much more regularly he'll mix that in now.
So last night, I thought Tom Candiotti in the broadcast and Steve Berthiaume did a really good job of setting it up. They really you could feel the import of the moment. And I remember going, this is not good. This is not smart. Put him on first base. Not only can you go right on right, in that case, you now have force plays. Put him on first base. This is Freddie freaking Freeman. And then he didn't. And then he got to 0-2 with him, and I'm like, okay, maybe I was worrying for no reason. And you're like, oh, God, no.
Well, I actually thought they tied it on Smith's shot. I thought that was off. That was out.
Yeah,
off the bat.
Yeah, right.
Thankfully, the air in Los Angeles slowed it down a little bit.
Yeah, and you're right. And maybe after getting Ohtani, there was sort of a let-up from Paul Sewald, because that was such a huge at-bat. Because Ohtani had just gotten Justin Martinez with that epic moonshot of his.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, and so you know the old adage in baseball: do not lose 2 games in one night. Now you've got, unless things change, you've got 21-year-old Christian Mena taking the mound in Dodger Stadium tonight. This is a guy that they acquired in a trade back in February. He's been really good in the minors. They had to bring him up after Jordan Montgomery got put on the injured list.
Yeah,
and this is a big stage and a big game for a young kid.
Well, it is, and it's another opportunity for a young pitcher to step up. And again, credit to Ryan Nelson, who I thought came in at once. Joe Mantiply pitched to the first 3 batters of the game. Nelson came in and kind of settled things. I thought he pitched well enough for the Diamondbacks to win, but for the most part, Ryan Nelson, Slade Ciccone, Tommy Henry, when he's been given opportunities, these guys that, they're not necessarily newcomers. They've been around the block a couple times. They're not stepping up to the challenge. And Christian Mena is getting his first taste of it tonight. But let's go back to the reason for that. Jordan Montgomery on the injured list. Yesterday on this show, I talked about it was imperative Jordan Montgomery figuring things out.
Yes.
We're too far into the season. There's been too much invested. And there's just been too many of these meltdown type situations. And now you put him on the shelf for another 2 weeks. It's not. I know people are frustrated with Jordan Montgomery, but that is not ideal. Just when you get Zach Gallen back, and now you had two veterans in that rotation. Again, now one of them's gone.
When you talk about sucker punches, this is another one. As we get this cue ready from Burnsy, Jared, the news broke live yesterday, and I was listening to the afternoon show. Burnsy had an epic reaction to it. Check this out. There you go. That's the yang to the yin of Dave Burns screaming when the Suns won the first pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah, but that sound turned into the sound that he just made yesterday.
That's right.
Well, and here's the other element that you brought up that I disagreed with you the last time they tried an opener at Dodger Stadium, which worked. I agree with you that should not become a recurring strategy against the Dodgers. At some point in time, you are telling them we are inferior to you, that we have got to kind of muck this game up.
You're flinching before you throw a pitch.
That's it. That's exactly it. So I was not a big fan of that either. Ryan Nelson was good last night, and given the state of that bullpen, Joe Mantiply being the only lefty you got available to yourself, you probably got to store him in the back pocket. So a lot of stuff that, and again, they played a good game. They created a run out of thin air, like they did all of last year.
They're 1 out away from winning.
One swing away from winning.
But as we sit here and examine this crushing loss, and everybody's waiting for the Diamondbacks to get on that runway and take off again, I just have to bring this up.
Okay.
Since the All-Star break last year, so we're looking at almost a full calendar year. And counting the playoffs, it's 173 baseball games that the Diamondbacks have played. And it may not be the fairest way to bring this up because things change from 23 to 24, and there's some new players, and you mix in injuries and everything. But you know what their record is in those 173 games?
Oh, boy.
83-90.
Wow.
Maybe that's what they are.
Well, it might indicate to you, to everybody, how improbable what they did in the playoffs was last year, that they spun last year's season into that, then made all these additions and still can't get elevation. By the way, Christian Mena, I read this morning. I noted this is out. This is a nice twist of phrase. I should really credit the writer who wrote this. If Christian Mena makes the start, the 21-year-old will be the youngest pitcher to start for Arizona since 2012 when we had Trevor Bauer and Tyler Skaggs. Let's hope Mena makes better life choices than those two.
Oh, jeez. That's harsh.
Oops.
Wow. Christian Mena's debut tonight, 7-10, first pitch, 6:30 pregame here on Arizona. I think that fits.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.